Hi, I'm Angela Boll. I'm the CEO of the Independent Book Publishers Association, and I'm here in New York City for BookCon 2017, talking with some of our lovely members. IBPA has over 3,000 members, and today I'm talking with one of the writers from one of our lovely publishers called Athea Press, which is an imprint of Audrey Press, and you are Hannah Rials.
Yes, I am.
Hi, Hannah, and welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to talk to you because you are one of our wonderful young writers who have come through, and you actually have written a book that won an award. So your very first book, it's called Ascension.
Yes.
And it recently won a Benjamin Franklin Award for Best New Voice Young Adult Fiction.
Yes, it's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's a lot, but congratulations. It's a beautiful book. It's a great cover.
Thank you.
And it has a good story. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the story?
Absolutely. Okay, so Ascension is about this young girl named Cheyenne Lane who's a dusong, which is a half-breed vampire. And in the summer before her senior year in high school, she goes to New Orleans with her sister and brother-in-law for the summer, just to get away, and while she's there, she meets this witch named Eli and her best friend Anne, and they discover that the Vampire Council, who are kind of the dusong's protectors, are doing some dark things that they really shouldn't be doing, and it's a little foreboding and mysterious, and then we end on a cliffhanger, and I'm not going to give anything else away.
You have to end on a cliffhanger, and then you have to end on a cliffhanger because I think you have 2 more books planned for this. Yeah?
I do, yes. We're in the final editing stages of the second one right now, so looking for beginning of next year release.
Awesome, because I love when you can get in with the character right away and early and then follow them through multiple storylines,
Yes.
so that's exciting.
Yes, and Cheyenne definitely matures and grows throughout the series, which I think is really neat to watch, just as a writer too.
Yeah. I like that you said mature and grows, because when we were prepping for this interview, you told me you started this book when you were 12 years old.
I did.
And it published when you were 20.
I did, yes.
And I was thinking about all the things I haven't gotten done yet in my life so far. So congratulations.
Thank you.
How did you get that done? How did you find a publisher for this book, being such a young author?
Well, I definitely was not submitting the book when I was 12 years old. I knew I wanted to publish. I read voraciously. I still read voraciously, but I knew that was my ultimate goal when I started this. And I found a woman who does after-school tutoring. Her name's Pam Hicks. And for the next 6 years, I sat in her basement once a week, and we edited this book and sent it to people to say, hey, would you actually want to read this maybe one day? And when I was a senior in high school, I interned for my publisher, Valerie Bruder, just to do help with her blog. Because at the time I thought I wanted to do editing and publishing as a career. And she taught me how to query agents when I was confident enough in my manuscript, and I queried agents and editors and got tons upon tons of rejections, because that's just part of the business.
Way. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And finally she said, okay, I want you to submit it to me. Do it properly, query, first 10 pages, everything. And so I did, and she sent it around to the entire company, because everybody has to approve of it, even my graphic designer, who was adverse to reading vampire books, but then ended up loving it and wanting to read more, and they accepted me, and so we signed a contract for a trilogy.
That's great. I think, just knowing that it takes a while but can be done, I think that's really inspiring for people. And the book is and it's publishable on its own right. It's a really great book. There's a lot of themes that you're exploring in the book. One theme that, we picked up on was this theme of adoptive families. So if you don't really feel comfortable in your own family, or if they're far away from you, if you're distanced by time or space or emotion, then you can find your own adoptive family as well. And I think your character goes through that. What other themes were you picking up on in this book?
Well, I didn't realize it at the time, and I didn't think about it when I was writing fantasy, but there's definitely this racism theme that runs through, because you have 3 different races. You have witches, you have 4. You have witches, humans, the dusong, and then vampires.
Yep.
So there's bad blood between the witches and the dusong. There's bad blood between humans and vampires. So all this racism and bigotry and horrible things said, and you can't date Eli because he's a witch, and witches are these bloodthirsty creatures when they're actually the bloodthirsty creatures.
Right, exactly.
So yes, definitely racism. Female friendships are very important in this novel, because Cheyenne and her best friend Anne, that's one of my favorite relationships. because they develop quickly, because she meets her when she's in New Orleans, and they just click automatically. And Anne was a fun character to write as well. She's a little bit of a foil to Cheyenne.
Is she going to show up in the second book?
Absolutely.
Good.
Definitely.
Like
and the
that.
third one.
Good.
She'll be there.
I like when you can keep the good characters.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, there's still bad characters throughout too, but
Well, those are good too. They just
Yes.
create the tension you need.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So what do you, kind of closing out and thinking about it, what words of wisdom would you have for young writers coming up? Anything you'd want to say to them to help them get where you're sitting right now?
Absolutely. So I always say that my success started with me believing in myself. So I was just a 12-year-old little kid who wanted to write a vampire book after reading Twilight and Vampire Academy, and I ran downstairs and I was like, Mom, Dad, do you want to read this book? And they're like, no. Okay, but then I continued to write it, and I was confident in myself, and it made my parents confident in me. It made Pam Hicks confident in me, and then when I was a senior in high school, it made my publisher, Valerie, confident enough that she wanted to take on my book. So it all starts with you. If you believe in yourself, then you're going to make other people believe in you, and it just goes from there.
That's great. And also congratulations to Athea Press for noticing great talent in young people and bringing that out and making sure that we have new books coming out from people that we want to read.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You can find Hannah online. She has a website called hannaerials.com. We'll put that at the bottom of the screen. She's on Facebook, as everyone is, at Hannah E. Rials. And she's also on Instagram at HE Rials. So you can find her on social media. I'm sure you'd love to connect with people,
Yes.
talk with them about the book.
Absolutely.
And thank you for coming. It was nice speaking with you.
Thank you so much for having me.